watched this channel, you've grown with this channel, you're going to notice two things. I don't got my signature hat, so you know what that means.
They don't know what that means.
Okay. And there's no intro skit or video clip, none of that. So
just diving straight in.
This is our movie review for Harriet.
2019.
Harriet.
If you know anything about American history, you probably know who Harriet Tubman is. She ran away from slavery, famous for the Underground Railroad, famous for becoming the first black woman to lead an armed skirmish in the Civil War or whatever. And this is a movie allegedly about her exploits.
Yes, so as always with any of our videos, with any of our reviews, the spoiler-free half is up front and the spoiler talk is in the back half. Not much spoiler-free. Again, this is a work of historical fiction. Harriet Tubman.
Emphasis on the fiction.
Harriet Tubman is a fictional character. So again,
in the movie, not in real life. What are you
I don't know why I said fiction.
Yeah, she's real.
Harriet Tubman is a non-fictional character. She's a real-life woman, real-life story, and a
real-life hero, honestly.
Yes, many of you don't know. In fact, unless you're our mom or sister and my wife, and if you are friends from elementary school, you may know. Me and Aaron were part of a competition called Black Saga.
Not at the same time. He's much older than me.
Yeah, so at our elementary school...
Also, don't use my government name.
Me and Ace were part of a black history competition called Black Saga. It's very groundbreaking for the time. You should look it up. There's a book by Dr. Charles M. Christian, Black Saga. And, it was just a time for the kids to learn about the history that they weren't learning about in the books. We have American history, and while technically African American history is American history, for whatever reason, wink, it's separated. And so this program, you learn all the heroes of the past. You learned about the Reconstruction era, about the Civil War era, about the slavery era, and just the different movers and shakers in those movements. One of which was Harriet Tubman. So me and Ace here are well versed in the knowledge of Harriet Tubman and the knowledge of African American history. I've taken courses in college, and I should have maybe pursued that instead of biology, because you're
just dropping all kinds of information about your life. No one cares that you're a biology major.
You see where that got me? I'm making YouTube videos in my house. But so we know this material, and that is why we're just gonna be upfront and honest. This
movie's trash.
Yeah, this is not like if this is your first foray into any slave movie, any African American, any Harriet Tubman movie, this ain't it.
Well, this is the first Harriet Tubman movie. So.
No, there's one with Cicely Tyson, I believe, an old movie. There's also that show that came on.
It's not a movie.
Well, yeah, but wasn't Tubman or something. It came on A&E or something like that.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, so there's been other depictions of this. I've shown my kids a little old PBS video of Harriet Tubman. This movie gets it all wrong. This movie to me.
I know Harriet Tubman. And she's no Harriet Tubman, am I right?
So yeah, I'm trying to find some positives about the film, because this film set me off on a level I was not expecting to be set off on. It does do a okay job of depicting the the
brutality,
the roughness of slavery, the family separation. It makes a conscious effort not to really show abuse. You see the scars on the people's back, but it never shows anyone getting whipped, and that's not a negative. That's just a choice.
It is what it is.
There's a scene, and this is not a spoiler, but you see how the slave masters rape the slaves, and so the reality. That is her father. Yeah. So you know that, right?
Oh, I guess. Whatever. Okay.
So it shows again the family separation. It shows that they're slaves, how they're viewed as property, solely property, not human beings. It gets into slavery. Some of the shots, beautifully, son.
I'm not your son.
Yeah, there's some beautiful scenes.
And the acting was really good in this movie.
Very well acted.
Cynthia
Erivo.
Sure. Even though I didn't like what they did with Harriet Tubman, she did a good job with the material she was given. Leslie Odom did a good job as I forgot his character's name. Even the white slave owner, they were all good actors for the movie.
Yeah, a very well acted movie.
Janelle Monáe did the thing.
But I'm going to say the highlight of the film was my man Frederick Douglass. Sorry if this is a spoiler that he's in there. I'm sorry, but okay. But
definitely an anachronism. Him and Harriet Tubman rarely met if at all.
Yeah, but they did my man's hair. If you ever seen a picture of Frederick Douglass, he had like the little bush, but like with a triangle cut out of it, and they did this thing on his hair. Like as soon as I saw that hair, I was like, "Aaron, Frederick Douglass in this movie."
He did say that. Stop saying my real name.
Ace, Frederick Douglass is in this movie. All right, so those are the positives.
I'm sure there's other positives if we wanted to delve into it, but honestly, I was taken out of the movie almost from the first scene, and it just changed my mind state. Watching the movie, I'm like, man, if I'm gonna be honest, this is one of my least favorite movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I mean, sure, someone else may have some positives, but I think if someone else has positives, because this is not, again, this is a movie about slavery, a movie about historical figure. Like, I get it. As a director, as a creative team, you want to use your artistic liberty. This is not the film to do that with, and they really went hard on the artistic liberties on this film.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't even think we needed a film about Harriet Tubman.
Well,
I'm saying, like, something like this, it doesn't really lend itself towards visual media. Like, with Roots, it kind of wrote the book on, slavery, opened a lot of people's eyes to it, and it turned out Alex Haley, he made a lot of stuff up about the narrative, because things like this, these are people's lives. It doesn't always follow a narrative that will make money for a movie, which is what the point of this movie is to do, honestly. It's, we don't have the transcripts of the dialogue, so you gotta make stuff up. Like, just tell her life story, write a book, do a mini-series or something. Don't do something solely for the purpose to make money, because you have to change stuff about her life, and I just think that's disrespectful.
Well, I agree to an extent. I mean, I think a lot of people don't read, so you have a bigger audience you can reach where you could, share the story. So I'm not against adding embellishments or adding dialogue or making it, Hollywoodized, if that's the word, So
I am against that.
Well, but it's clearly been done. I mean, there's slave movies, all 12 Years a Slave, Glory, great movie. Yeah, I'm saying, so any of these movies, there's going to be fiction. But what I'm saying is there's a line that you don't cross, and making this like, okay, we're about to get into spoilers, right. So let's get this score out the way, man.
And we haven't discussed it beforehand, but I have a feeling it's going to be some low scores.
Yes.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
3. All right, so 2.5 from Deuce and Ace.
2.5 out of 10 for Harriet.
Ace and Deuce.
And part of me feels bad because I wanted this. Again, we're not a political page channel or any of that, and we just want to talk about films, but we're clearly black, and again we've laid out the history of our Black Saga origins, and I wanted this movie to do well because I want people to know there's so many people in this country who all they learn about is George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. They don't learn.
I mean, to be fair, I do remember learning about like Harriet Tubman in regular history class, like school-based history.
Yeah, I remember there being a page of like black people, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass, and you kind of gloss over that.
I don't really think Sojourner Truth is on the page, honestly.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, sure, you learn, but you don't learn. So if this had done a good job, I would enjoy it. And I feel bad for giving it such a low score, but no, dog.
I don't feel bad. This movie is bad.
This movie is bad. So, again, we done the non-spoiler part. We gave our score 2.5 out of 10. Be sure to follow us at Bro to the Movies, social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff.
Be sure to subscribe, like, follow, share, all of that stuff. You know what to do.
Spoilers, and we about to go in.
Smash that notification bell.
Spoilers. Alright. So this movie starts off with Harriet Tubman and a trans on the ground.
It turns out Harriet Tubman was psychic, and she got visions from God. Now, there are kind of basing this off of like realistic stuff. Harriet Tubman in real life, she got a traumatic head injury and became epileptic, and she had quote-unquote visions. But at no point in time did anyone believe that she was giving future thoughts from God where she could predict the future accurately.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be such a big deal. Again, just as I was talking about being black, we're both Christians. I believe in God. I believe in faith. I believe in these things, but there's a level of belief I have, especially in a story. So if you want to say that, you know, God is talking to her, I'm fine with that. But the level at which it's used, it becomes a crutch. It becomes like she didn't have. It's not really faith. It's not really courage. If God of the Old Testament is like, hey, here's what you do. Go do this.
Why is that what you imagine God sounds like?
God can't sound like this.
I don't think God's a New Yorker.
I'm Bernie Sanders. Healthcare. Taxes. Bernie Sanders.
Okay, boomer.
Leave a like if you thought I did a good Bernie Sanders impression. Oh, Bernie Sanders. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Harriet.
Harriet. So it was just it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. And also, I feel like this takes away from what Harriet Tubman actually did.
Yeah.
It takes away from the indomitable spirit of the black slave, from their resourcefulness, from their courage. I mean, if someone's getting visions, anyone could evade a slave catcher if God's like, go this way.
Yeah, and so it's not to take away from God, it's not to take away from Harriet, but the way it's depicted in the film is like, no, she's no longer a courageous character. This is a story about...
She's a prophet.
Yeah, a story about a prophet. This is a biblical character that we didn't know was in the Bible named Harriet Tubman, and she's now a prophet. And okay, so I guess what they're trying to do, Harriet Tubman was called Moses. She's called that in the film, but now it's gone beyond her exuding the courageousness of Moses. Now she's literally Moses with God in the
courage, not courageousness.
God of the burning bush, I am that I am, is literally talking to her. And again, that's not me taking away from the Bible. That's just saying that I don't believe this is what happened with Harriet Tubman. Because again, it's not courage in this sense. It's just following the voices in your head.
You know why they called her Moses in real life? Because she freed slaves like Moses did.
Yeah, so like that's gripe number one. Gripe number two, and this is pretty early on in the movie. I've thought about slavery. I thought about lots of things in my life. I don't think I ever thought about Harriet Tubman urinating in the forest.
Oh no, you're skipping around. That's after she escaped, though.
Okay, yeah, I'm skipping around. I'm kidding. Like that movie took me out. Like so, it's a montage of her running, you know, escaping, the slaves looking for, the slave masters looking for her, all this stuff, and then like. If you've seen the Chappelle Show, you know the character Tyrone Biggins. And so his opening sketch is when he's taking a number 2 and then it's
when he's taking a deuce.
He's dropping a deuce and it's a little melted Snickers candy. Yeah. But the way he's just squatting, look, there's a scene like that with Harriet Tubman. Look, everyone knows slaves had to go to the bathroom. Why did that have to be depicted, dog?
They didn't have running water in the 1800s, so I'm assuming everyone was peeing outside at that point. Does
that show the struggle? Like, next part, bro. Go on. I can't, man.
I don't know, man. Like, you're right. After that peeing scene, I was just done with the movie. Like the psychicness of peeing. So, well, let's talk plot points. She, you know, her and her husband, they're like, oh, we got a lawyer. We're technically supposed to be free. And, you know, the slave master's like, no. So she's like, okay. So she's like, we're going to escape. And she's like praying that her master will die and her masters die. Okay, cool, whatever. Maybe really happy, maybe didn't. I don't know. But
I don't think we'd have a record of it if it did, but
I don't know. It's possible. So she's like, her and her husband, who is a free man, they're going to escape up north. So she's like, all right, I'm going to go say bye. You wait for me down by the tree or whatever. And then she just leaves him. She escapes by herself. Her husband's just waiting around, waiting. Where could Harriet be? So then the slave master's son, who's now the new slave master.
Her name's not Harriet at this point in time. She's Minty, so he wouldn't say where.
Yeah, like Harriet Tubman's real name is like Arminta Ross or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, where's my wife? And the slave master's son's like, hey, where's Minty? He's like, I don't know. He's like, she escaped. So they just beat up her husband, who now has to stay down south while Minty is escaping up north. Kinda jacked up, Minty.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that's historically accurate or not, but that is a plot device, and we could usher into this, that this creative liberty, this whole story, like what I'm about to talk about, is a primary issue with this movie. So during this whole time, you know, she makes her way up to freedom. She gets her papers. She meets Leslie's character. Janelle Monáe's character. And so she's a free woman. And so her primary motivation is to go get her husband. Like, her family is an afterthought. Her freeing other people, not even a thought at this point in time. So eventually she makes her way back, and we could talk about how a black woman is just walking around with a gun exposed during this. I don't care if you... Black people can't walk around with a gun exposed now. You want to tell me that this black woman is just walking around with a gun about to shoot a white dude for free or not? Like, it's just,
it is like factually correct that she did carry a revolver with her.
Carrying a revolver and having it just in the back of your dress for everyone to see. The slaves who saw the revolver means that the white people would saw the revolver, which means that she wouldn't have gotten to that point. That's totally unrealistic. Like, this movie does a disservice to how hard the struggle was. Like, it's just like, oh, Harriet could be a hero because she's a prophet. She could just walk around with guns and pull it out on everyone she disagrees with. Family, slave, whoever. But we'll get there. So,
also, before all this, as she's escaping up north, from this movie, we're led to believe that she did it all on her own. Factually, she used the Underground Railroad to escape. Like, why are they just changing history to make it seem like she's more of a heroine that she is? As if her actual story isn't heroic enough.
Let me tell you why. Because it goes to what I'm about to say. Because this movie clearly has an agenda. It is not enough to talk about Harriet Tubman. We have to, again... We have to, I don't know what word, but we have to squash the black man. For Harriet Tubman was a social justice warrior.
Someone say the first social justice warrior.
I don't know if she's the first, but she was a social justice warrior. Harriet Tubman was not a social justice warrior of 2019. Her perspective was not of the perspective people have now.
Stop yelling, dog.
Dog, this movie got me fired up, dog. So she, you know, she makes her way back to her husband. And it takes me out the movie because, like, whenever her roll call to people was like, I'm sorry, or go down Moses, you know, she sing Negro spirituals, but, like, instead of just like, hey, John, I'm here, I'm sorry.
We don't know that didn't happen, dog.
I'm just saying, like, again, creative liberty. I'm not mad at that. It's just, it was funny to me. And so he's looking like, oh, snap. He's like, oh, what's going on? And so they hug in and, you know...
this is not a hug.
You know, face caress and all this stuff. And so, again, a year's time has passed. Also, we jumped over this, but when she was running away from the slave masters and stuff, she jumped off a bridge into the river. Everyone thought she was dead. So, my man John, like...
What's that his name?
I don't know. But, I got married. Yeah, you kind of left me. You literally, we had a plan. We were going to meet at the gate. Now, her thinking, nothing is wrong with her thinking. She said, if we got caught...
You would become a slave too.
Yeah, he's a free man. So I understand that. But she got to understand, and it's a quote that her sister says later. Pause. Okay, so it's a quote that her sister says later to her when Harriet is on her high horse. She says, hey, Harriet, don't judge us minty. We have to do... We do what we have to do to stay sane. Like, these are...
I said stay safe.
No, stay sane. I'm saying they're taking our husbands. They're taking our children. If I get married, if I have these kids, I got to do what I got to do for my sanity. You can't judge John, her husband, and put him down because he got another wife. Look at the time period. Don't look at a man leaving this hero, Harriet. No, this was a man who got beat up and had to move on because life goes on. He had no idea Harriet was still alive. But this movie puts the fault on him. Like, she's like, get off me, why you, as if he cheated on her. Like, you gotta put this in perspective of slave times, of what's going on. You don't got nothing to look forward to in this life at that time. You need a woman. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You think your woman is dead, you get another, there's nothing wrong. But this movie paints the picture that Harriet is now motivated as a woman scorned. And so now she's like, oh, John, I got this suit for you. You don't want it? I'm going to go save my family now. In fact, her brother was like, this suit too small for me. This was like for John or something, right? What? Remember he was like, this suit is too
No, I don't remember. I was not paying that much attention.
But you didn't see
Vietnam.
like the suit was because he's a tall dude.
No, I didn't notice that.
Well, anyway, so Harry's motivation is now that she's a woman scorned. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Also, her husband, ex-husband John, his new wife is pregnant, and earlier he was talking about I don't want to get you pregnant, Harriet, because I want our children to be free. And then she's talking to Janelle Monáe's character. She's like, oh, I guess he needed a free wife. Yeah, he needed a free wife because back in slave times, if the mother wasn't free, the children weren't free. It doesn't matter the freedom status of the father. He didn't want his kids to be slaves. What's wrong with that? They paint that as a black spot on him.
Yes, because this movie has an agenda in the story that it's not telling Harriet's story. It's the director's name.
Larson?
Yes.
Starts with an Elson?
I'm gonna try to put it up here, if I remember. But no, like it's Harriet Tubman. You do not need to paint a picture and create a story of her being a strong black woman.
She's already a strong black woman.
She's a strong black woman. In and of herself, her story is that of a strong black woman. You don't need the strong black woman attitude of 2019 for that to be the case. And you just brought up Janelle Monáe's character. Let me read some quotes.
This dude was literally typing the whole movie.
So...
There's a lot of quotes on there. Hey, dude's nice haircut.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm lying.
So when she first meets Janelle Monáe's character, I believe her name is Marie. So she's standing there, and it's like it zooms in on her, like for theatric effect, like in your face. Yes, I'm a woman. Yes, I'm black, and yes, I own this place. Harriet Tubman at this point in time just escaped with her life. She is not pondering and focused on the fact that a black woman has ownership. She doesn't know what it's like for any black person to have ownership. These concepts have not, you can't put, and don't get me wrong. Black women, own your stuff. I want you to own your stuff. But we are telling a historical story. That mindset would not be there in history. So Harriet comes back to Marie, having a sob story that her man did her wrong. And so what did she say? You are so far beyond any man I ever met. What? Why is that in this type of movie? Like, you don't have to bring men down to raise Harriet up. Harriet's actions have raised her up. And then what else did he say? What's a man to a woman touched by God? Guys, this is about slavery. This is why are we pitting men against black women. No, they were united in the struggle. There was unity. There was not this. The patriarchy wasn't. It was a thing in the world culture, but
not in black culture back then.
They were both slaves. The families were destroyed. They were suffering together. There were black men who revolted. There were black men who were on the Underground Railroad. I am not taking away from Harriet Tubman, but Harriet Tubman does not need to bring down black men. This is ridiculous. And don't get now. There's two characters, definitely not in the actual story. What was his name? Willie.
Who?
Chance the Rapper looking dude.
I don't know his name.
Okay, so let's call him Willie, and then the black bounty hunter. Come on, dog. Like, it's not bad enough that you got put down, man. Now the story is driven by a black bounty hunter. What they would. There's so many scenes where they would have straight killed this dude.
Yeah.
Just because he was
He was what?
Cocky. I'm saying this dude. Yeah, I'm gonna bang some white whores. They would have shot him dead. Like this movie does not take into account true history and the suffering that our people had to go through. And as a black man, I don't see why I have to be belittled for Harriet Tubman's story to be told, man. It's crazy, bruh.
It is crazy.
So you got this black bounty hunter, and this dude is just, he says you effed up, N-word. That's the vernacular of people on the streets today. Ain't no slave, free or not, bounty hunter. You effed up. Oh my gosh, what am I watching? He would not be talking like that, dog.
And after this N-word effed up, they just let him run free. But you can still help us, man. What?
No, slavery, running away. This was brutal. This was not. There was no comedy. Men, woman, whatever. Like you were chattel. You were 3/5 of a person. You were property.
I don't know 3/5 compromise. I had nothing to do with this movie, but sure.
I was just saying, like, show that suffering, and show Harriet Tubman rising up over that, not rising up over a broken relationship. Harriet Tubman's pulling out guns on her family because they are afraid of running away. Newsflash. If you got caught from running away, you were killed, your foot was chopped off, your penis was chopped off. So much stuff happened, your family was separated. It is not like the picture is painted like, oh, if you don't follow Harriet, something's wrong with you. No, this was real for them. Like, I just can't with the depiction of this movie.
Yeah, man, I've been quiet over here. That's because I'm just over this movie, honestly. From the first 10 minutes in, I'm like, man, this is going to be a bad movie. So I watched it, I absorbed it, but I just didn't care for it, man.
Like, and also, so everyone knows the stereotypical Harriet Tubman pose. Why is she like that? Because a man was trying to adjust her for the photograph. So, you be Harriet Tubman. Well, actually, let me be Harriet Tubman. No! Have you seen any slave pictures? They don't got no reason to smile. She was not...
Oh, wait, have you seen any picture from anyone, no matter the race, from the 1800s? No one was smiling.
Have you seen black people's licenses today? I'll show you I'm not smiling. She was not posing and posturing because she was a strong black woman. She was posing and posturing because she was a slave who escaped. She had nothing to be... Yeah, she had something to be happy about because but that was not joy. Her people were still suffering. Jeez Louise, like, why did she have to slap the black dude's hand? Like, come on. These would be... Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Pause for a stress break. So I'm all over the place. You can tell I'm passionately upset with this movie for a wide array of reasons. Now let me get to this. So we got the black bounty hunter working hand in hand with the slave master. So of course you know who dies.
The black bounty hunter.
The black bounty hunter.
Well, and this is just like a classic dumb movie trope where you have two bad guys, but the bad guys turn on each other at the end so the hero can come out on top. Like, just stop doing that in film. It's dumb.
I'm just mad at the black bounty. Like, slavery is atrocious enough. You don't have to have a black guy stumping out black people. Like,
yeah, spoiler, they murdered Janelle Monáe's character. Well, first of all, he punched her 3 times and then kicked her in the face, and she died from that.
I mean, admittedly, like, he could have kicked and broken neck.
Yeah, that's possible. But like, why is he the most ruthless out of all the, it's bad people on both sides, right? Maybe, yes, but no, the slave masters are the bad guys.
Yeah, and so there's this whole C-plot where the slave master's son, who's not the slave master, kind of likes Harriet, and she got the gun to him. She could clearly blast this dude, but again, this is all fiction anyway. This is a contrived story, but you hear those voices. Those are the voices of the dead slaves. I don't think he can hear the voices. He's not the prophet in this story. And instead of blasting this dude, because in fact, it's pointless because she could have got on the boat with her family and all that stuff.
Yeah, sure. And this whole thing is what's driving the movie. This character does not exist in real life. Like, there's no slave master son who Harriet Tubman was his favorite slave and he was pining for her, had to go get her back. No. The whole plot of this movie is just based on fiction. Yeah. So she goes through all this to have a little soliloquy in far as him and her. He shoots his own hand with a shotgun. And she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't kill him. Puts the gun down. Runs away. And then joins the Civil War. Like, again, that part is accurate. She was in the Civil War. She was a spy. But also a nurse. She cooks, woman of many trades. Yeah, but like this was propaganda. This was not a depiction of slavery. So if this is your first foray into it, please go to the National American History, Black African American History Museum. I don't think that's the name of the museum. Yeah, I don't know what the actual name is, but please, like, African American History Museum. Do yourself a service and do some actual research. Go to the Blacks and Wax Museum in Baltimore. Like, go to anywhere that depicts slavery. This movie is not it. This movie did a disservice to Harriet Tubman. This movie did a disservice to anyone who wanted to learn about Harriet Tubman. This movie did a disservice to anyone who knows about Harriet Tubman. This movie and its depiction and the choices taken thereof were trash. Agreed. Be sure to subscribe. Also, shout out to Harriet Tubman, representative of Maryland, where we're also from. Yeah, and that was another thing, man. It's just like puts it in perspective. Like, we're living in Frederick Douglass was also from Maryland. Yeah. Like, we're living in Annapolis was the epicenter of the slave trade. Like, we live in
Did we just tell them where Deuce and Ace are from?
We're from Maryland. Sorry, guys.
We live in the background and walking on the soil.
I've never been in Dorchester County, so
I've been. There are slaves in PG County.
All right.
We're out the long road.
This dude jumping cities? Come on, dog. You're just doxing yourself now.
So it's just like we walk upon the land that was trodden and by our slave ancestors, by our brothers and sisters who were beaten. So this is real to us, and this movie just
it just spit in the face of Black history.
Yeah.
Hey, if you we don't know everything. You may have loved this movie. Start a dialogue in the comments. What did you like about this movie? What didn't you like? Let us know, and let's talk about it.
Yeah, if you disagree with my rant, go ahead. Let us know. Let's have a conversation, and not for us to try to convince you otherwise, but because we need more dialogue in this day and age.
Agreed. And make sure to subscribe.
Subscribe. I'm Deuce.
I'm Ace, and this has been Deuce and Ace, Bro to the Movies. Out. Hey, Deuce and Ace here. Thanks again for sticking around for the whole video.
We're so glad you did. We hope you enjoyed the movie reviews, the trailer reactions, the funny bros, and the quality content. If you do, be sure to subscribe, check out these videos, and be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Bro to the Movies.
Deuce and Ace.